Okay, so here's video number 2 of unit 4.2, the cosine law. And so this is the original problem that we saw. And so we are trying to find x. Notice I don't have a golden ratio again. I know an angle, but I don't know the side opposite it. I know a side, but I don't know the angle opposite, and I know another side, but I don't know the angle opposite it, which means that we cannot use the sine law. You must have a pair that you know to be able to use the sine law. So that means we must be using the cosine law. So if I label these vertices A, B, and C, this would be side A, this would be side B, this would be side C. It's side A that I'm looking for. So writing down this version of, so A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of A would be the cosine law for this scenario. If I labeled them differently, then I would have a different equation, but it would always work out. I'm looking for this side, I use the other two sides, and then I use the angle that's opposite the side that I'm looking for. So here's how it works. It's kind of like the Pythagorean theorem, but it's got a little bit more on the end of it. So B squared is 14 squared, plus C squared is 8 squared, minus 2 times 14 times 8 times the cosine of angle A, which is 25 degrees. Now, you are perfectly allowed to just simply go ahead and calculate all of this in one calculation on your calculator. You don't have to show me the parts. I'll go through the parts here. So we have 14 squared, which is 196, plus 8 squared, which is 64, minus, I'm going to do, this whole thing needs to be multiplied. You can't do the 2 times 14 times 8, subtract that off of these two things here, and then do the cos of 25 by order of operations. Multiply, multiply, multiply. The multiplication all has to be done first. So 2 times 14 times 8 times the cosine of 25 equals 203.0129. And so 196 plus 64 minus 203.0129 is 56.9871. Clearly, this is not 56 units, that's A squared. So A is going to equal the square root of that number. So let's square root that number, and that is 7.55 units. Okay, so you are allowed to go right from this line here to this line here. You don't need to show me this line in between. You can go right to the end. You can also do this if you're really good at your calculator. If A squared equals 14 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 14 times 8 times the cosine of 25 degrees, that means that A must equal the square root of all that. So 14 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 14 times 8 times the cos of 25 degrees. So do all that calculation in there and take the square root of it, and so A equals 7.55. If you want to write it down that way, that's fine with me. I don't need to see all of those calculations in between, okay? I do need to see this line here. I need to see what it is you're doing to get to that final answer. All right, so let's see if we can try another one here. Okay, so go ahead and try this one. Stop the video, go ahead and try, and come back when you're done and see how you did. All right, so let's call this A, this B, and this C. So that means this is side C, side A, side B. So I'm looking for C. So C squared equals the other two sides, A squared plus B squared, minus 2AB, and then the cosine of the angle that's opposite the side that I'm looking for, which is going to be C. So C squared equals 15.3 squared. Oh, I have these backwards, but it doesn't matter. It's addition. Doesn't matter what order addition goes in. 2 times 12.1 times 15.3 times the cosine of 60 degrees. I'm going to get my calculator out. 15.3 squared plus 12.1 squared. Now you know your calculator and you know what order you have to do things in, what order you need to type things in. So I get an answer of 195.37 here. So C equals the square root of that. And that would be 13.98. And there are no units on this. Okay, I'm going to stop that video there.